says this. It says that even if we are unfaithful, God remains faithful. Guess why? Because he cannot deny who he is. And so, since it's Faithful Friday, it's time for me to share with you another story, another testimony of God's faithfulness. So you might be asking, hey, Candace, what do you mean by testimony? What does that mean? Well, one of the simplest ways that I've heard the word testimony defined is this, simply. It's do it again, God. Did you know that in Romans chapter 2, verse 11, it says that God shows no favoritism. He shows no partiality. Here's a secret. You're his favorite and so am I. But he really doesn't have favorites. And what I mean by that is if God would do this for me, if he would do these amazing things for me, he most certainly will do it for you. So here's this. Are you ready? If you know anything about me, if you've been around me for any length of time, you've probably heard me say this. I love God's butts. Uh-oh. Did she actually say that? Don't panic. Don't get offended. Because yes, I do love God's butts, but not in the way that you probably think. You see, what I mean by I love God's butts is this. I love it when God instantaneously, suddenly, out of nowhere, without haste, when he just suddenly moves a mountain on your behalf, when he answers your prayers, when he shows up and he shows off. I love God's butts. Today I'm going to be sharing with you one of our family's but God moments, one of our suddenly moments. In 2014, our family we're in the process of transition. So we're selling it all at one house and we're buying a new house. You see, the old house that we were selling, it moved quickly. Like it sold super fast and we would need to be out of there really quick. This is a huge praise the Lord, right? But here's the problem. Our new house, it needed a complete and total overhaul, like all the way down to the studs, y'all. And so because there were complications, because there were delays and setbacks with getting the old house remodeled, we weren't going to be able to live in it. It was completely inhabitable by the time that we needed to move out of the old house and into the new things. There was just so many things that went wrong. The prospect of what we were facing was daunting. Y'all, barring a miracle, listen, barring God showing up and moving mountains on our behalf in a matter of hours, not days, not weeks, not months, but in a matter of hours, if God didn't move mountains for me and my husband and Brendan and Corbin and our 3 dogs, we were going to be homeless. From our point of view, things looked super bleak. Despair and discouragement, they were pounding at the doors of our heart. They were doing everything they could to make us just give up and give in. We had 2 very, very big pressing needs. Our first pressing need was we obviously needed somewhere to live. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But our second need was that we also needed somewhere for our possessions. If you'll stay tuned, I'll be releasing that testimony next week. That afternoon, not knowing what else to do, Kelly and I think the boys are with us, but I'm not sure, we hopped in the car and we drove out to the new home. And on the way there, I cried out to God. I prayed to him. I said, mustering up faith, every last bit of faith I could muster up, I cried out and I said, Father, listen, things aren't going as we thought they would, not as planned at all. But listen, God, I believe that when I pray that heaven responds every single time. Your word says that the earnest prayer of a righteous person produces great, powerful, and wonderful results. God, your word says that you are Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. And y'all, that means the Lord who sees to it. And so I believe that it is your great pleasure to provide for us. And I humbly ask, Father, would you please help us out? Well, y'all, are you ready? Here's the but God suddenly moment, because literally a few moments later, my phone rings, I answer the phone, and it's a friend of ours who says, hey, Candace, I hear you don't have a home. Well, guess what? I have an RV that we're not using. It's not very big. It's not much. But if it's something that you would like to use, we'd be happy to bring it on out to your property and let your family live in it until you have things resolved. Y'all, just like that. Instantaneously, moments after crying out to God, he suddenly moved on our behalf and our first request was granted. Friends and family, testimonies are so encouraging. And so I hope that this has encouraged you. I hope that this has blessed you. I hope for those places where you are crying out to God, where you need provision, where you need him to show up, where you need a miracle, where you need to just know that he sees you and he is working on your behalf. I just ask right now, Jesus, would you just come? Would you come and just inhabit their praises? Would you come and answer prayers? Would you show them that you are faithful? Because even when we're faithless, even when we can't for a moment believe that you're going to come through for us, God, you always do, because when we are unfaithful, you remain faithful because you cannot deny who you are. And so friends and family, listen, today I bless you to seek the giver of life. Don't just seek the gift, seek the giver, because he's so much better. He provides in ways that you could never understand, that you could never imagine. And when you do, as you seek him, as your testimony begins to unfold, I just encourage you, share with other people your story, share with other people your testimony, share with other people your but God moments, the do it again God. Release those testimonies to other people, share them with others so that they can be amplified more and more and more. And as you are seeking the giver and not just the gift, I bless you to pull those testimonies, pull on yourselves, the ones that you've had before, and other people's, so that your faith increases and so that God will just honor your faith and come and work on your behalf. And as for me, as for my family, as for the Banks Bunch, listen, we will not. There's no way that we're ever going to stop telling about every single thing that we have seen and heard the Lord do. And I bless you to do the same. Y'all have a great day today. Let's look forward to next week where I share part 2 of God's miraculous provision. Blessings and favor be upon you. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.